Welcome back to Jamaica's history. This is the place where we dive deep into the stories, culture, and legends that shaped our island. If you love discovering Jamaica's rich past, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss a moment. And don't forget, drop a comment below and tell us what part of Jamaica's history you'd love to hear about in the next video. Let's dive in. Little is known about the island's early history, except that there are many traces of Arawak habitation, and that Arawaks, agriculturists who made good quality textiles and pottery, were living there when Christopher Columbus landed on the 14th of May, 1494, on his second American voyage of exploration. He named the island Santiago or St. James. However, the name was never adopted and it kept its Arawak name Jamaica, of which Jamaica is accustomed. Lacking gold, Jamaica was used mainly as a staging post in the scramble for the wealth of the Americas. The Spanish arrival was a disaster to the indigenous peoples, great numbers of whom were sent to Spain as slaves, others used as slaves on site, and many killed by the invaders, despite the efforts of Spanish Christian missionaries to prevent these outrages. There were no Arawaks left on the island by 1665, but there were enslaved Africans replacing them. In 1645, the British captured Jamaica from the Spaniards, whose former slaves refused to surrender, took to the mountains, and repelled all attempts to subjugate them. These people came to be known as Maroons, from the Spanish cimarron, meaning wild, a word applied to escaped slaves. Between 1660 and 1670, pirates used Jamaica as a place of resort. In 1670, Spain formally ceded the island to Britain. 2 years later, the Royal Africa Company, a slave-trading enterprise, was formed. The company used Jamaica as its chief market, and the island became a center of slave trading in the West Indies. Nonetheless, the battles of the Maroons to retain their freedom succeeded when, in 1740, the British authorities recognized their rights to freedom and ownership of property. Settlers, using slave labor, developed sugar, cocoa, indigo, and later coffee estates. The island was very prosperous by the time of the Napoleonic Wars, exporting sugar and coffee, but after the wars, sugar prices dropped, and the slave trade was abolished in 1807. After the emancipation of slaves in 1834, the plantations were worked by indentured Indian and Chinese laborers. Sugar prices fell again in 1846, and Jamaica's worsening economic situation caused widespread suffering and discontent. In October 1865, a political protest at Morant Bay organized by G.W. Gordon developed into an uprising during which the local magistrate and 18 other Europeans were killed. The governor, E.J. Eyre, declared martial law and launched a punitive campaign of ruthless severity, with several executions without trial, including the hanging of Gordon, who had not instigated any violence. The reaction in Britain was astonished outrage. Eyre was removed from office and Jamaica placed under Crown Colony rule in 1866. The banana industry was established in the second half of the 19th century, on big estates and small holdings. In the early 20th century, Jamaicans worked on banana plantations in Central America and Cuba, and in the construction of the Panama Canal. Jamaica's first colonial constitution gave considerable power to settlers. The Governor's Council included senior figures such as the Bishop and Chief Justice, but the Representative Assembly was controlled by white settlers. After the imposition of direct Crown Colony rule in 1866, settlers lost their power and the governor was advised only by the mainly nominated Privy Council. With amendments, this constitution was retained until 1944. In 1938, the People's National Party, led by Norman Manley, was formed to campaign for independence. The Jamaica Labour Party, led by Sir Alexander Bustamante, was founded in 1943. In 1944, an executive council, with half its members elected by universal adult franchise, was established. In 1953, ministers from the council took over most portfolios, and Bustamante became chief minister. Manley followed in 1955. When Jamaica joined the Federation of the West Indies in 1958, it had full internal self-government with a legislative council, or senate, and legislative assembly holding real power. On independence in 1962, Bustamante was prime minister. With bauxite in demand, tourism flourishing, and a revival in bananas, Jamaica's economy boomed. In 1972, the People's National Party, led by Norman Manley's son Michael, won the elections, and remained in office until 1980, when the Jamaica Labour Party under Edward Siega came to power. The People's National Party, again under the leadership of Michael Manley, won the elections of 1989. Thank you for watching Jamaica's history. I hope today's story gave you a deeper appreciation for our culture and heritage. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with someone who loves Jamaica as much as you do. And we want to hear from you. Leave a comment below with your thoughts and what topic you'd like us to cover next. Until next time, walk good and keep the history alive.